Hello, 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 and welcome to the Rabbit Hole Heroines. My name is Jessica, the big weird mom.
And I'm Jess, Crazy Mother Runner.
And we have, I feel like, one of the most loved guests today on TikTok. I feel like everyone loves the heck out of you. We have Duchess Prim.
We do.
Hi.
She's like, what?
No, thank you. I appreciate that. I have plenty of people that do not feel that way.
We don't care what they
No, we don't. No, we don't.
Yeah, we love you, and that's all that matters.
Yeah.
Well, I would like to start off the show by saying if those of you who are tuning in today we don't have anybody on live at the moment, but if you are expecting Under the Desk news, unfortunately, they had a bit of a family emergency today. We're going to try to get them on the pod as soon as we can, but we are sending all of our love their way, and we're hoping to get into a couple of different rabbit holes today. Duchess Prim, why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about your life and how you came on TikTok, where our followers can find you, and a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so I have been on TikTok for almost a year, which is wild. It will be a year next month. I got on during quarantine. I was just kind of watching videos and then decided to get involved once, all the civil unrest started happening, and I just felt like I needed to be paying a lot more attention. So I immediately started with politics, and of course that was received in a various number of ways. But overall, it's been a really amazing journey. You can find me on TikTok at Duchess Prim, DuTchEssprim. Same handle on Twitter, and on Instagram it's Duchess.Prim. Unfortunately, that name was taken on Instagram. So if it's yours, I will buy it from you because I would love to. I'd love to have them all be the same.
Who is she?
I know.
To find her.
I want it. I'll trade you. How about that?
Exactly. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So, well, let's start with a little bit about your life. I don't know a ton about your story as far as, your religious background and how you have gone in and out of that. And can you tell us a little bit about that story?
Yeah, I would love to. So I started going to church in utero, and yeah, and my family grew up Pentecostal charismatic, which is a fringe of the evangelical church, and in the mega church world. So I was heavily involved with, all the major televangelists of the 90s and early 2000s and their families. My mother actually was a ghostwriter for a lot of them. So wow. It was, we were highly involved. In the church that I went to when I lived in Florida, sat 5,500 people, and we had 2 services every Sunday, and it was completely packed. So 11,000 people every Sunday. It was amazing. It was, I say amazing, but not in like that's amazing, but like,
that's overwhelming. Amazing. I would say overwhelming.
Well, it would be overwhelming if I wasn't used to it, right? Like,
right.
It's amazing thinking back on it, but
right.
The whole idea behind the Pentecostal charismatic fringe is heavily based in the Baptist teaching. So it's a lot of sexism, a lot of racism, a lot of misogyny, but you just don't realize it until you're in it. And it's a lot of weaponizing the Bible to justify these like bastardizations of scripture. And I would say I was in the church, middle school through high school, early into college, 4 to 5 days a week.
Wow.
Volunteering, doing different services, being in the choir. I actually worked at the church for a couple of years. I was on praise team, which is like the singers you see in front of the big orchestra that's in front of the big 350 person choir. Like it was a dog and pony show, like to the point where, check this, the part of the stage where the orchestra and the band was on a lift. And so on Sunday mornings, you'd see the choir, like the curtain would open and there'd be this giant choir. And then you would see the stage rise and the band would come up. It was the most, and there was a like fog machine and like,
oh my God.
It was insane. Like if you've ever seen the show Righteous Gemstones.
I was just going to ask you about that.
Yeah.
I have not
saw
seen
that show
this
and I'm
movie.
like, yeah, I've like when I saw that show, I'm like, people are going to think this is satire, but this is real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
insane.
It's like
You know,
it's a Danny McBride show. So it's just very sensational and like it's a great
Over
show.
the top.
Anybody who's interested. I think it's on HBO maybe.
I think so. HBO or Showtime. I can't remember.
Yeah.
One of the
Okay.
two.
I'll have to check it out. I have both of those channels.
Highly recommend it, especially if you grew up in the church.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I would say the biggest turning point for me was I started to kind of the first time I started questioning things was when I started seeing and hearing the same sermon over and over and over again, just presented in a different way.
Mhm.
I'm like, I've already heard this. Like, where's the substance? You know, I've been in church
Yeah.
my life.
Right.
And then I came to find out that the pastor actually buys his sermon series and then just like adds their commentary to it. So it's a business. Like, I mean, obviously church is a business, but like it was a true business.
Right.
So that kind of turned me off. And then one day I was like, well, why don't I try another church just for fun, just to expand my horizons? And I went to this church and I was sitting in there by myself, another mega church. And I noticed that on the stage was the praise team and all the men were in pants, but all the women were in long skirts and long sleeve shirts. And I'm like, that's weird. And so I was going through and my mother was always like a very, very vocal about being a feminist and like standing up for yourself as a woman, which I was in hindsight, I'm like, but
Were you?
really? But I noticed that there were no women in leadership. Like it was so stereotypical of the church, right? Like the women worked in the shop or in the coffee shop or in the nursery, right? Or they taught
Servants of the Lord.
Yes. So me and my in my early days of my snarky, I called and asked for a private meeting with the head pastor. And I wanted to ask him, like, why is there not more representation of women in leadership?
And this was the new church.
Yes, this was the church I was visiting. And he told me, well, women have their place in the church and, you know, this is what God wants. And so we have to respect that. And I was like,
gosh.
Yeah. And then at the end of the meeting, the pastor's wife came in and pulled me into her office and lectured me on how to dress as God wants me to dress. And I was so mad that I went and I did a little bit more digging on my own. Comes to find out, pastor had an affair with a woman on praise team. Wife came in, created a job for herself so she could regulate how the women dressed so he wouldn't be tempted again.
Oh, that's really surprising. I feel like Christians and evangelicals don't ever have affairs or anything like that.
No.
Oh, God help us. Yeah. If only that was true.
So it's funny that, you know, I love the title of your show because it is a deep, deep, dark rabbit hole. And it was a very culty upbringing. Like if I met somebody who was not in the church, I instantly thought, well, I need to save them. They're wrong. If I met somebody who was Jewish, I was like, oh, that's really sad. You're going to hell. You know, like all these things I was ingrained to think that in hindsight, I'm thinking I was indoctrinated to be hateful and myopic. Cool.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like it's challenging do you find challenges in your everyday life that still you have to kind of fight against to get out of that indoctrination?
Absolutely. I mean, I think, you know, I have to, I correlate it to like the mindset of racism, not to like change the subject, but it's like, you know, when you're ingrained, when you're literally programmed to think a certain way, you know, and I've kind of, my pendulum swung far the other way. Like I was at the church and I would get physically ill, you know, just because I was so disgusted, but I was mad at myself. That was one thing I had to really work out was like, I felt guilty.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What I realized is it wasn't my fault. You know, for a long time on TikTok, I did a lot of content on supporting the LGBTQIA community because I felt like I owed them a really, really big apology because at one time I truly believed in conversion therapy.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I mean, I think the hardest thing for me to recognize is that it wasn't my fault, but it is my job to rewire all of those things that were wired incorrectly.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Did you ever witness anything like any of the conversion therapy? Like, did you ever see that yourself or experience that with your friends or family?
No, not directly, but the way our church had it set up was there was a separate building, it was on property, but you couldn't see it from the church. It was hidden. And ironically, it was called Exodus.
Secret building. Oh,
Exodus.
God. Yeah. I was like kind of joking with the mass exodus comment, guys. Like I didn't mean it seriously.
It was legit called Exodus.
Wow.
So ridiculous. But they like hid them, and they were like, you don't hear no, see no, speak no, but pray for them was basically what we were told. But yeah, it was wild. It was wild.
Yeah.
I don't miss it. For a long time I did because I missed the familiarity.
Oh yeah.
It's
your comfort. It was your comfort for a long time.
Yeah. I mean, that was my community. That was my whole world. And the moment I decided to completely walk away, I lost that entire community.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like, well, if I'm leaving and I'm being ostracized, I must be the one that's wrong. So maybe I need to figure out, like, am I truly lost? Like, do I need to figure out my way back? And then I was like, no. I am finally who I need to be for me and for other people.
How old were you when that happened? Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I would say the process started in my late 20s. It took a long time.
Well, you were engaged, right?
Mm-hmm. I've been engaged twice, Jess.
But you were engaged to someone very like prominent in the church.
I was engaged to a music pastor. I won't say his name. Guarantee you he's not watching this anyways, but no offense to y'all, but different crowd. He was the music pastor, and I cannot tell you, it was like my mother had won the lottery. Like my whole life, she kept telling me, you're called to ministry. I know God has called you to ministry and you're supposed to be a worship leader. And then I got engaged to a worship leader and she was like, oh, bless, like it was like it was like all the pieces fell into place.
Yeah.
But it came to realize, I mean, but it was like, even then I was able to kind of like, I was starting to figure things out and I would vocalize like things I wasn't uncomfortable with or starting to set small, tiny boundaries. Mm-hmm. And he perceived that as me competing with him for attention in the church. And so that was the beginning of the end for us. And
wow.
He
got married like 6 months after we broke up. So happy for you, dude. Enjoy
not
it.
Shocking though. I'm sadly not shocked. Mm-mm. And I do feel like they groom them. I mean, I'm
absolutely.
I was in the Baptist church, but even in that smaller environment, I do feel like they're being groomed to kind of pick their mate. Yes. And it's really terrifying. It's just, it really is.
Yeah. I mean, my parents told me, and I didn't grow up overly wealthy. I mean, we were like, middle class,
right?
And dad had a good job and, just kind of like working it one day at a time. But my parents told me the deal was they would pay for my first car and my first degree as long as I didn't get married and as long as I saved myself.
I thought you were going to say first wedding. I would have laughed, but never mind.
No. Yeah, that's the irony, right? Because both my parents have been married twice. But that was the deal, was like, save yourself, stick to the godly plan of you graduate high school, you go to college, you find your husband, and then you're on your own. And I'm like, okay. And I stuck to the plan and I did everything right. And I was like, why am I not happy? Because it's not real.
Weird.
I know, weird, right?
So strange. So strange.
So yeah, I did not get married to either one of them. Thank God. Pun intended.
Was the second engagement, was that involved with the church or was that a different story altogether?
Totally different story. Complete rebound. Sorry, dude. I'm happy for you that you're married. bygones.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know if I knew that second one. I knew about the first one. I was going to ask you something, and now I can't think of what it was. Okay, never mind. It'll come to me.
It'll come to you. Yeah, it was an interesting experience for sure. I mean, I think the hardest part was and to this day, I'm like, well, what do I actually believe now? Like,
right.
Where am I now?
Yeah.
And I think the one place that I keep falling back to is deism, because it's, I know that there's something bigger than me for sure. And I appreciate people calling it God. And I appreciate Christians who actually live a godly life. Like, Jess, I appreciate the kind of Christian that you are,
Right.
You get it. You get what it's about. And I think for me, that was, there's so many people with so much scripture, but so much hate in their heart. And I'm like, what is this? Just doing it wrong.
And it's becoming more and more prevalent, unfortunately. What do you think about, that's what I was going to ask you, about COVID and just, I feel like TikTok and just a lot of I can't say the word.
Evangelical.
Thank you. But a lot of people leaving the church in like masses. And you see it, have you connected with any other like TikTokers that are kind of like, I know one of my favorites, April Joy. I don't know if you're familiar with April Joy. But she's one that's really, I feel like, trying to come to terms. Like, she's like me. She still believes, she still she still reads the Bible, she still prays, but she's really struggling to come to terms with like where she is in her journey, because she doesn't trust the church anymore.
Yeah, she and I have actually had a few conversations about this. And I think one of the biggest things that we're seeing is this, it's the evangelical church is tying it so hard to the fringe political party instead of just sticking with the people and
the Bible.
And it's like they're trying to change the whole message, which, I mean, in a way, there were parts of that church all along, but it's like now that people are actually seeing when you see somebody at the pulpit, you think they're perfect, you think they're God's chosen, like they are the voice of God because they've been chosen to be the pastor, is what we were told. Right? But then when you see who they actually are, you're completely jaded by what they're saying from the pulpit. And so it's like it no longer holds any weight because they're spreading false lies about the election or about how we're being tracked through the vaccine. And, they're just like, they're feeding into this lie, trying to gaslight the country instead of just sticking to the Bible.
Yeah.
And I think, in this day and age, and one thing I'm really grateful, especially with the younger generation, is they're not as, they can't be as naive because there is so much information. Unfortunately, you have to choose a side right now because the gap is so wide. I think a lot of people are realizing, like, I don't identify with that.
Yeah.
Over there, I'm not accepted.
Right.
Yep.
I feel like one of the like moments on your TikTok that's really sticks out in my mind is, I think it might've been right after the insurrection where you said that one of your family members called you, I think it was your mom, and asked you if you had, your 3 weeks worth of supplies and to go gas up your car. And like, it just felt like, and at that time, people were DMing me in droves, just being like, what is happening? What are you seeing on Parler? Do you think this is actually going to happen? I think mainly, like, one of the biggest concerns people had were not that the world was actually coming to an end, but that someone who believed in this stuff had like infiltrated the PG&E or whatever, and they were to just turn off the power. Like, how did that turn out for both of you? How did that turn out for your family members? Like, did you ever address that after that phone call? Like, how did that go?
That call, so I knew that my parents were falling down the rabbit hole of, I knew that they were Trump supporters, and, they live in a bit of an echo chamber. They live in a small southern town, and the majority of the people that live there are in their age bracket. And when my dad called, I didn't answer because I was a little nervous, to be honest. And I was like, oh.
Yeah.
So I let it go to voicemail, and in the voicemail, and I still have it because I feel like it's a good reminder for me.
Yeah.
That was a really tough moment for me when I got that voicemail, because I realized my parents are not at all who I thought they were. And, I think that's a hard thing to, as we start to grow up, we realize our parents are people, right? They're not they're our parents, but they're also people. And sometimes we like them, sometimes we don't, and that's okay. But you think that you have at least a general idea of their stability. No shit, mom and dad, but what the heck? And so when I received that voicemail, I was shocked, and I did not want to engage because I didn't know how to proceed.
Yeah.
And so I called my sister. Thank God my sister's a clinical psychologist. So I was like, what? Like, yeah, they're crazy. I was like, no. You need to listen to this. And she was like, oh God.
This is bad.
Yeah, so bad. And the reason I made all of those videos about conversations with my dad is because that was the only way I could process what was going on.
Right.
Like, and people got mad at me about him of like, you're whatever. But like, sometimes videos are just for you.
Right.
Obviously other people see them, but yes, I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I actually got a lot of really amazing responses from those videos of people saying like, I'm in the same boat and I don't know what to do. I'm like, I don't know what to do either. And did I address it with him? No. I distanced myself because I didn't know how to have that conversation. And we recently had a phone call a few weeks ago. And I basically told him, I was like, listen, I love you. You're crazy. I love you. I don't agree. But that's okay. You're still my dad.
Yeah.
I think that was the hardest thing to learn, was like, I just have to accept him where he is.
Yeah.
And I just hope he doesn't go over the edge. Like once I see him go over the edge, like busting into pizza joints and trying to find lost children, like that's the line, right?
So there's a line. There's definitely a line. Well, I mean, and I think our parents are similar. My stepdad is my dad, but he is very extreme. And he was the one that I discovered Simon Parks from, because it was on his page. It was on his Facebook page, along with Beijing Biden. And I mean, just really, really nasty stuff. And I was just like, okay. So I remember him coming over when we were doing Christmas cookies every year. So this is obviously after election, but prior to January 6th. And he's just nonstop on his phone, like not engaging, not talking to us, like just scrolling, watching videos. And I'm just like, okay. And at this point I dug a little bit, and then of course I'd started watching Simon, and January 6th happened. And about a week later, and of course I'm seeing all this on Parlors. I already know they're talking about blackouts. They're talking about, get your stuff, your stock ready. And, I'm seeing it play out. But then I'm telling my mom, I'm like, Mom, I'm just a little worried. And she's like, you just need to pray. Like, for fuck's sake, like, can't pray away an insurrection, Mom. Like, but but she's got good, like, she just wants to see the good in everybody and everything. And I kind of have a feeling your mom's like that too. Like, she wants to like see the best in everything, but doesn't want to acknowledge the really like, oh, maybe that's not great, kind of stuff. So I'm just like, and I said to her, I was like, I'm really worried. I feel like he's watching a lot of conspiracy stuff. It's really like, I've been looking into it. And she's like, it's fine. It's fine. And so she says all this. And like 3 days later, I get this phone call at like 6 a.m. in the morning. Like, I'm in bed, and I answer it. And I'm kind of like half out of it. And she's like, so we were thinking that you and Dave and the kids should come to our house for like a week, because we have guns and we're just really worried about like, people coming to your house. I'm like, what? You should get gas and food. I'm like, what? I'm like, Mom, nothing is going to like, I'm not coming to your house because you have guns. Like, I'm not doing that. So, and so that happened. I want to say it was either that day or the next day. There weren't kids in the building. We were on virtual and we were splitting the days. So there was only one of us in the office, and I'm in the office and I'm like, I kind of was having this like breaking point. And it was the first conspiracy video I ever made. Like I'd made one bout about January 6th when it happened, and I didn't really speak about anything else. And then after that phone call and just everything I'd seen, I'm like, I just went off on a tangent on the 60-second video. It kind of went semi-viral. I think it had 600,000 views and 140,000 likes. And so many people like, this is my family. And it was what kind of sucked me in to start talking about it and getting on Parler and exposing what I was seeing on Parler and Telegram and Simon. Right. And but yeah, it's just the fact that this has literally taken families, and I still see it. I know you're not on Telegram as often as I am, but a lot of the chats I'm in, because I know Jessica has delved down Telegram, but it's not her favorite. But
if you can have a favorite.
I just feel like it's a little more dark and in the sense that it's more privatized. So with Parler, don't get me wrong, there's nasty stuff on Parler, but it's they're blatant about it and they don't care. Where in Telegram, they are saying some really bad things. There was one I literally had to get off of because it was just so anti-Semitic and so racist. And I just couldn't, I couldn't bring myself to read it every day because it literally just became hate speech. That's all it was. Yeah. But even now I have people my husband thinks I'm crazy. My wife thinks I'm crazy. And I'm like, because you are. But these people are literally talking about how their marriages and their families are divided in their own houses, and they continue to. I mean, here it is, May. It's May. He's not back.
Jess, he's coming back on the 4th of July.
I know. Mount Rushmore, Air Force One. I heard it. I got it. Memo. I've noted it on my calendar.
Yeah, I'm just
saying, I'm at what point do they have to, oh my God, I listened to Simon. I haven't even done a video on it, but I listened to Simon for 25 minutes the other day. And he's like, well, the White House is empty. And then he goes, well, no, it's a prison. So everyone's contained in there, is under arrest, awaiting to go to Gitmo. And there's a tunnel under the thing to Gitmo. And I'm just like, is this what the fuck? I just want to cry sometimes. But then I'm sitting here going, there's people that watch him and go, okay, this is real. It's happening. Yeah. I'm just no, it's not.
Well, and honestly, let's bring it back. Oh, go ahead, Jessica. Sorry.
For those of you who are saying, yes, my family thinks I'm crazy. Those people, your wife, your husband, they're DMing us. Mm-hmm. They do think you're crazy because you are. That's it.
There's really no nice way to put it.
There isn't. And, I think I was on Telegram for a day, Jess. And I was
no, I'm good.
Literally, because I was I want to see how easy it is. And I think I told you what I did. But I was it was the day after, a few days after Jill Biden wore the fishnet stockings. And I was So I went on Telegram and I was like, hey, you guys, I'm still researching this, but I really think there was a secret message in the fabric of the fishnets. I think that she's tired of the ruse and she's trying to ask for help and get out. I'll keep you posted. Literally within seconds, people were like, oh my gosh, let us know. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. I didn't, oh my God. I was like, nah, I'm done. I'm out. It's that easy. It's that easy. And that's so sad and terrifying to me.
But that,
and you look at their profile and it's some cute little blonde girl and she's
God first.
She looks totally normal, you would think.
No, she looks like a Stepford wife. She does not look totally normal. She looks like a Stepford wife. But
terrifying.
But I think what bothers me is they tell us, do your research. And like you said, I've seen so many people just put out a narrative, not even an article, a narrative. And they're like, oh my God, I totally believe that. Like you said, it doesn't even take a link to click for them to go, yep, I'm on board with this idea. And then and when you push back, they're like, we're just willing to explore all that. And I'm like, but you're just making shit up.
Correct.
Like it's not like, and I mean, and like, you know, I've debated, or I've tried to debate people. They won't debate me, but I've argued like there's two big conspiracies that I've like always shot down. I'm like, I have legitimate proof. I've looked into this, which one is Nasara Jasara, which they literally think that we're just magically going to have all of our debt erased. We're going to wake up tomorrow with a zero credit on our, like 0 items on our credit report, no debt.
I'm down.
I'm down, but
same.
No.
That would be rad.
Yeah. And then they're like going on and on about how we don't really have gold. And, you know, we're going to like Simon's idea of the quantum financial system blows my fucking mind. Like literally you're going to get paid on your like aura, like your goodness. Okay. And I'm like, you do realize that people that support Trump are going to have no fucking money. Like I'm sorry if that's a true fact. They have zero care for humanity or life or human rights. Like they're going to be financially broke.
I feel like the reason I have so many wrinkles over the past year is because I'm constantly in the face of like, what?
The face? Huh? Yeah.
Oh my God.
I know. But yeah, it is so easy to, like we were talking today. I don't know if you've seen the latest conspiracy. I mean, I know you have the COVID shedding, the protein spike shedding thing.
Oh yeah.
And now they're wearing masks.
Yes.
Including Dr. Tenning, who is like their renowned doctor that they swear by because of course she's anti-vax, anti-COVID, is even like, we may have to wear masks and we're like, fucking, are you kidding me? So I literally said a leftist made this shit up to get them to wear masks. Like I've decided that this was literally a leftist that went on somewhere and said, oh, did you hear about the protein spike that can shed?
Honestly,
we need to stay away from vaccinated people.
Yes, and that's the right strategy, right? Like let's use their playbook against them to get what needs to be done. Okay? Yeah, congratulations. Whoever did that, you're my hero.
I know. It just kills me. I mean, Canada had businesses get shut down to vaccinated people. Like that's how legitimately this conspiracy grew. Like there was physical businesses that said, if you've been vaccinated in the last week, you're not allowed to shop here.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
How are they going to figure that out?
Right.
That's like the gym in Jersey who said that they were giving away free gym memberships to people who were not getting vaccinated. Like,
what?
I mean, I could say that I didn't get vaccinated, and not that I want to work out at a gym where they only take people who weren't vaccinated, but like,
right.
I could say I wasn't,
and I was,
and you would have no idea.
I just feel like people are doing these things just to capitalize on idiots. Like,
yeah, that's true.
You know, I mean, I wish I would have opened a flag printing company 3 years ago. I would be loaded right now.
Yeah.
Just pumping out Trump 2024 flags.
Well, the girl that I thought bought the COVID cards, did you see that video?
Yeah.
Okay. She did not buy them. She was selling them.
Oh, even better.
Wow.
So that's because like she made this video. I made a video calling her out because I thought she was a moron for blowing $20 plus shipping and handling. But come to find out after like everything was come to head, she was attacked because she admitted that it was her website and she was selling them, and people were like, that's bullshit. And they were they were sending it to the FBI, and they were telling her the FBI is looking into her. And she's like, so she made a video, and like all of this transpired, 4 weeks ago, if that. And she's like, they haven't come yet. And I'm like, bitch, you know how the FBI works? Like if they legit are looking into you, there's no timeline. And 3 to 4 weeks probably ain't it. It ain't it.
CNN just I think it was CNN that just had a segment the other morning about a bunch of people that got arrested for doing just that, because it is a crime. I don't know if it's a felony, but it's definitely a crime. It's falsified.
It's a government document.
Yeah, because it has
she claims because she had a disclaimer in it. And I'm like, yeah, with a prayer.
That's what they said. It doesn't matter if there's a disclaimer. If it has the CDC logo on it, you're screwed. That's why the crazy Christians made the one of like, I'm vaccinated by the blood. Like, if they have their own card.
I mean, even
crazy
that guy,
hard.
Jason Collier, who had like the 48 affairs or whatever, the police officer in Texas, he's facing jail time for falsifying divorce papers. I mean, like, let alone an official, document dealing with public health and wellness. Like, that is, And if you're distributing those, that's going to be a whole nother story.
And profiting off those.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just wild. It's wild to me. Ugh. There's so much work that goes into just like not doing the right thing.
Exactly. Like, okay, it just is what it is now. Like, I was thinking today, I actually enjoy wearing a mask in public. Like, I don't have to worry about putting a face on. I just got my sunglasses, I got a hat on, and I am like, nobody can see me. And that is where I'm happiest in this world.
See, I actually hate a mask, and that's because I hate my nose, I hate my eyes. The only thing I like on my face is my smile, and I can't show it. Like, and I've been like, my nickname as a kid was Smiley. Like, I'm always smiled at everybody that's crossed my path. So that was, in fact, my husband will say that's the first thing he noticed about me. But like, so it's been hard for me. Like, I don't usually wear eye makeup I don't wear any makeup. And like, I've started wearing like mascara and trying to put eyeliner on, which is a failure. But just because I really like, I hate, this is all you see. I actually did a video today because the right, these people, the extremists, I'm not going to say the right, but extremists really are like, they just want to obey and be sheep. I'm like, I don't want to wear a fucking mask. I don't want to not vacation. I don't want to not like go out and socialize. Like, I don't want to do that. Like, why do you keep insisting that this is fun for us?
Right.
I like this lifestyle. No.
And to be honest, like, I didn't get sick at all last winter. So I'm totally cool with wearing masks seasonally. Totally cool.
Right.
Because in my line of work, I interact with a lot of people from all over the place. And it would be nice to know that like it's socially acceptable now to put a barrier between me and their germs.
I mean, but Asian communities have been doing it forever. Like, my husband's lived in South Korea. He's stayed in China and Singapore for extended periods. Like, when it's flu season, people wear a mask. Like, they do it out of a courtesy. Like, it's just what they do.
Yeah.
And so it's just funny to me that people look at it as like this, like, freedom being stripped or something. Like, no, it's literally just like protection for an insignificant amount of time. Like,
yeah, I actually heard the other day that the right is looks at the mask the same way that we look at the MAGA hat. And I'm like,
that's sad.
It is sad.
Yeah. But it's true, though. I mean, Jess had that interaction last week where she took off her mask and someone said, basically they assumed she was a Republican and was like, thank you for not wearing your mask. Like, it's so true. I mean, it's like taking a public stand to show the world that you're, Thank you, Mermaid Mama Maggie, for making the Vax Hole shirts, because then we don't have to look like Republicans.
Right. Like, can I just drink my boba outside by myself in peace? Like, why do you have to confront me? And then he was like, right. I'm like, dude, get away from me. So, hi, Ryan.
People are just looking to be outraged.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just, okay, so we're talking about anti-vaxxers and conspiracies. What is your thoughts on how they're viewing India right now? Like, obviously we know India's not a conspiracy, but that's the way they're presenting it, and it's just
I think that there is something to be said about the majority of this country is evangelical Christian, and there is this ideology or this idea that being Muslim is being evil, and Muslim people are lesser than to Christians. It's just the way that a lot of people are programmed to think. And so I think when they see, Palestinians being hunted down in the streets, being ripped out of their homes, and because they're like the last argument I saw was, well, something like the land was theirs to begin with, so they just need to give it back. I'm like, hold on. So we should give the land back to the Native Americans, is what you're saying? Is that where you're going with this? Because last time I checked, you're so convinced that this country wasn't stolen. Like the whole, like it doesn't, if it doesn't affect them directly, it doesn't matter. And they're just going to come up with an opinion that doesn't make any sense just so they can forget, Americans, the majority of Americans, and unfortunately the majority of far right-wing Republicans are so myopic that if it's not happening in America, it's not real. Doesn't matter.
Right.
Moving.
Right. Or if it's not happening in my house, it's not real.
Right.
I mean, they go even further than.
Yeah. And it's really sad. And it's like, I would like to post more about it on TikTok, but TikTok, it takes any excuse to take something down. Right. So I've been much more vocal about what's happening in Israel and what's happening in Colombia on Instagram.
Yeah.
Because people keep sending me some really graphic, really heart-wrenching videos that they personally have recorded and seen firsthand about what's going on. And it's like I think the most heartbreaking one, which I haven't posted yet, is this woman who is sitting on the ground who had just been arrested. And she's lecturing the police officer of like, I'm being arrested because I just protected a woman that you were trying to assault. Is this who you want to be? Is this the legacy that you want?
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God.
I can't even imagine.
Trying to live their lives. That's it.
Yeah.
They didn't do anything other than exist. It's just blows my mind.
And this was in Colombia or
That was in Israel. That was Israel.
Mm-hmm.
So they're both having like political strife, basically.
Political strife, yes. I would say
Police brutality.
Yeah, Colombia is more economically motivated, what's happening there. So basically, because of the hit that their economy took because of COVID, the government decided to hike the taxes on the middle class. So basically throwing everyone in the middle class into poverty. And it's heart-wrenching. And so people, of course, took to the streets to be like, no, like we work our asses off. Like you don't get to just dictate, how we now exist on this earth. And the government's response to the protest was sending out 4,000 more troops. And the police have just been brutalizing and killing and assaulting people. Hundreds of people are missing.
So do you think the goal is to eliminate population? Like, do you think that's their end game, or do you?
I think their goal is to silence people, silence the ones that don't want to comply, that don't want to just play by the new rule. And it's really, it's upsetting to see, just like anything else, right? It's like, that could very easily be America, what's happening in Colombia.
Right. And honestly, there's people that would be perfectly fine with that.
Correct. Yeah.
Sadly. Yeah. Let's put military on the street. I mean, I think military's in charge anyways, but let's put military on the street and dictate how things are done. And
right. Well, they're being fed this dialogue that protesters are burning cities down. I mean, like, people are literally just spouting this nonsense about BLM terrorists, and it's just, it wouldn't even be a second thought for them to obviously look how the reaction was during the Derek Chauvin verdict when they sent all of the National Guard out. I mean, like, it very easily could turn into that situation here. And in some ways it has. I mean, for fuck's sake, we just had an insurrection.
I know.
Today, there was a representative who literally said on television, it wasn't an insurrection. On any other day, it would have been considered a regular tourist visit. His words.
What?
Who?
His words. It was representative, I want to say, I have it right here.
I haven't seen a tour where they wipe shit and piss on the walls, but that's news to me.
Andrew Clyde.
Andrew Clyde's a jackass.
Georgia's 9th congressional district.
Oh, he's in Georgia. Of course he is.
Of course he's in Georgia.
God, Georgia, get it together. Get it together.
He literally said something about how the people entered peacefully and were moving about the halls in between the stanchions. Like, total complete horseshit. I'm like, dude, what movie were you watching when we were all watching the news? Like, this is just embarrassing. But there's some idiot out there that's going to watch that and be like, oh yeah, that's exactly how it happened.
Oh, there is. I'm sure I've interacted with them.
Oh yeah. They've been on all of our pages.
Yeah. Do you remember that part where the police officer died? I mean, like, is that happening every day?
I'm really glad you brought that up, because I actually got into a little back and forth with MTG on Twitter yesterday, which was very
like flattering. She responded?
She was responding to somebody else, but I was sorry. My stupid iPad keeps going off, so I'm going to hide it. People are trying to find me. So she responded to somebody else, and then I responded, and she was basically in the conversation. But she said something about basically people on the left were the reason that the cop died, and I said, no, sis, that was your posse. And then somebody else said, he died of natural causes, which I looked it up. And he did have an underlying health condition, but even the coroner said that what happened that day directly affected him.
Right, exactly.
Him.
Right. So there's no way you're going to tell me otherwise.
Yeah, and are you going to try to tell me that George Floyd died of heart disease? Like, is that the camp that you're in? Because you're just an idiot.
It's the camp that she's in. We all know that's the camp she's in. He lives there.
I can't handle it anymore. Make it stop.
I mean, she literally just went on tour with a freaking sex trafficker. Like, come on.
Yeah. Speaking of Marjorie Taylor Greene, she just announced that the winner of the Honey Badger gun.
I know, is it one of ours?
Oh, did I win?
I wanted to read it online. I should have had it queued up here. Let me see. Give me a second and I'll find it. Oops. She has just been so upset that she couldn't announce this on Parler because she's been campaigning so hard on Parler for it. But Parler is still down. Amazing. It's been down for more than a week. Okay, here.
I'm pretty sure she advertised on Telegram though. Okay,
here. Gun giveaway winner announced. Yes, I receive emails from MTG. Do not judge me.
I do too. I don't like it, but I get it.
All for content.
Dear Jessica, I'm pleased to announce that Marvin H. of Millbrook, Alabama was the winner of my Honey Badger gun giveaway. I've already contacted Marvin to congratulate him and will present the firearm to him in person in a few weeks. I'll be sure to send a picture around of me with Marvin and his new Honey Badger just as soon as we meet up. Thank you again for entering the gun giveaway. Be on the lookout for the next one soon.
Did you say?
Can you imagine if I had won it and she showed up at my house?
Oh, that would have been fucking amazing.
That
would have brought me so much joy.
I would fly to your house, double mask, and just like stand there and slow clap the whole time. Oh my God.
I'm just reading her latest telegram. I voted for a second time to remove Liz Cheney as the chair of the GOP, and I stand alongside 70 million plus, at least she got the number right, Trump supporters in opposing Cheney's Trump derangement syndrome. I've also asked GOP leader to delay the replacement vote. There should be choices, not predeterminations. Yeah, I find it really interesting that she's allowed to give a gun away. I thought there was some issues with that. I thought that was because I know there was an issue with Lauren Boebert accepting a gun. So why isn't the same true for her?
So, the reason Lauren Boebert wasn't allowed to receive a gun is because it was
a gift.
Because it was a gift.
Right.
But if Marjorie Taylor Greene footed the bill personally for the gun, I think that is allowed. But it's still a campaign tool. So I'm not really sure how that works. I see Ryan is in the room. He probably knows about this.
That's what he said. He was just saying he didn't feel like she should be giving guns away.
Yeah.
I mean, can you imagine if anyway, I mean, obviously that wouldn't happen, but it's like if any Democrat gave away a tool of that, I can't even come up with what the equivalent would be of that.
I don't even know.
Bear spray.
Pepper spray.
I can't. But oh man, it just blows my. Oh, okay, here we go. Yeah, I'm curious. It is Millbrook. I want to see what this man looks.
She was soliciting using guns. I agree.
Yeah.
I want to know. I have a feeling I know what this person looks like, but that's okay. I was trying to find him on Google.
Well, I mean, so like, even if I had somehow won, or one of our followers had won, it was written in the contract that she could vet them, which is probably how she got around any type of legality with this, because she was like basically handpicking the winner. So it wasn't like she was just randomly giving a gun away.
Right.
She was like making the illusion that she was actually having this lottery, when in reality she was just taking donations.
Yeah.
But what blows my mind beyond that is like, it is so obvious how they are just playing. It's like a reality TV show for them, right? Like they're not actually getting anything done. Like they're just, going to parties, going to these little speaking engagements, singing happy birthday to each other off key. Right. But like just doing all of these things that don't make any sense just to make noise and distract from the fact that the GOP is doing fuck all for anyone. Yeah. And then meanwhile, the Democrats are over here like trying to at least do something and actually doing things that are helping Republicans. But yet Republicans are like, but you're evil because you're not giving us guns. It's like, no, that's a distraction.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah. So I just think I wanted to mention this because you had mentioned Israel. Mm-hmm. So Simon actually just posted earlier today, having failed to start a war in the Ukraine or Taiwan, he's claiming that there's been that China, pretty sure he's talking about China, but he doesn't specify, region, the cabal turned their attention to an old issue. The UN is now saying that a war will start in Israel and the Palestinians. So, but it's the cabal, like he's literally saying the satanic cabal is the reason that this war will go on. He doesn't really give any legitimate, he's always so like ominous though. He doesn't really give.
Right. So is this the same cabal that is putting kids in cages under the White House? I mean, like,
Yes.
He said that which like, yeah.
I just want to hang out with them for a day. Like,
he has a lot of cats. He has a lot of cats. And his room is so cluttered. He's in a flat. He doesn't even live in the States, which is so funny to me. So he's in UK. In fact, two of the main like conspiracy talking heads are him and Charlie Ward, both of which are UK guys that do not live in the States, yet they know all of the deets about our country.
Right.
They know all about our tunnels. They've seen pictures. But anyways, but yeah, they just, but like his videos are all in this like cluttered office space with just cats jumping on him on occasion.
I mean, I love my cat, but I just find it so odd. He's so interesting. Like, where are they finding these pictures? I saw a video today of somebody being like, there are tunnels underneath the entire United States that all go to these. That's where the children are farmed. The women and children are farmed in these tunnels, and then used for parts, basically, like their organs are
adrenochrome,
and the babies are
don't forget the adrenochrome.
Oh, and the adrenochrome.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, I mean, it just the infrastructure that goes into all of these conspiracy theories is just absolutely astounding. Like, where is everyone getting the money to do all of this?
The deep state does, Jessica.
Yeah. They have so much. They have deep pockets.
Does he mention that his alien girlfriend anymore? Like,
He doesn't. He does.
That's a bummer.
I feel like he's gotten away from that because it makes him look like a fucking crazy person. I mean, he is a fucking crazy person, but like, although I'm gonna tell you what, there are some ladies on the left that love them some aliens, and that is a hot topic right now. So
what?
I'm sorry.
What?
Yes. You're gonna need to elaborate on that, please.
Correct. Please use more words.
There are women in these telegrams that are fully on board that there are aliens among us, that there are aliens in outer space, that the government, she's just chugging, that the government is hiding
Just water.
How do you know
all of
they're
this stuff
liberal?
from us. Yeah, they're fully on board with that.
And are they in liberal Telegram channels?
Liberal telegram? No, they're
I
not
thought you
liberal.
said they were liberal.
I thought you
No,
said
no,
all
no, no,
that.
no. These are conspiracy ladies, like
Okay.
hardcore conspiracy ladies.
Got it. Yeah, I finally, for the first time, saw a video about lizard people today.
Yeah, they believe that too.
I'm like, okay, I do believe that jellyfish are aliens, right? Like, I truly like they're insane. Their DNA is amazing. Like, they're not real. Like, they're just magical little like things, right?
Yeah.
Yes,
But,
yes.
And you know, maybe there is other life in the universe. I don't know.
I mean, I'm down with that idea.
Yeah.
I'm just not down with someone peeling their face off and there being another, life form underneath it.
Well, that was my favorite theory in the beginning of Biden's.
It's still the theory.
Oh, really? That's still on.
They still think he's cloned and he's dead, and
cool.
They're like they literally showed like a piece of his fat flab because he's old in the back of his neck. They're like, that's where I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, I can't even engage with these people in these telegrams anymore because they will know that I'm like,
I have to say,
not on their side because I cannot hold back the crazy.
Right. But like, hats off for the amount of creativity that goes into thinking something like that. Like,
hats off to the dedication.
Yeah. I don't know if it's so much creativity because it's like they do this thing where and we kind of saw this. Like, do you remember the motivational speaker posters that were a thing in like 2005?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And like at first, like everyone was like very much like, you put a lot into it. You sit and think about it for a while, and it like, you can turn that into something really funny. And then as things like progressed and as that trend kind of petered out, it was like, you would look at them and they would make absolutely no sense at all. And it was just like word salad. And I feel like that's kind of where Parler and Telegram is at this point. It was like with the memes and like the level of effort that they put into their conspiracy theories. It's like they just throw anything at the wall and they see what sticks. Yeah, it's like the meme I said the other day where it's like it was Biden just picking up his mask. And they were like, and this man got 75 million votes. It's like, what? Because he picks up his trash? Like,
that was like Tucker Carlson freaking out about Kamala and the first dude kissing with their masks on. Like, what are we doing?
I kissed my husband with my mask on.
Yeah.
I did it at Busch Gardens. I'm sure I'm going to hear about it later in one of my posts. Somebody's lying on me right now, and they'll be like, "You're dumb. You kiss your husband with." Look at this bullshit. It says drain it.
What does it say?
Drain it.
See, that's what I'm talking about. It's like,
that's a really good point.
There's like very little effort put into it at this point.
Oh, they're planning a worldwide unmasking on May 15th. Every town, every store.
Cool.
No mask day.
Do they realize,
how about you just get fucking vaccinated and then it can be no mask day every day? There you go.
But then you're going to be tracked by Bill Gates and he's getting divorced.
Too late. I got my tracker February 11th. I'm fucked. It's okay.
Have you seen the video of somebody putting a magnet on the arm where they got vaccinated and it like sticks and they're like, I thought this was fake, but it's real. I'm like, what? No, it's not real.
You're a liar.
All my magnets on this arm and none of them stick.
I hate these people.
I used to feel bad for them, genuinely. I used to, because, going back to growing up in a, cultic religion, like, I get it. Like, you're being pushed into a place of uncomfortability so hard that you're grasping on whatever you can as you fall from this place. And you're like, this is it. This is it. This is it. This is it.
Yeah.
But there comes a time that one would hope that you would just realize, like, maybe I should just listen. Like, I don't like it, but maybe I should listen and maybe take what I need. Because like they idolize these televangelists who half of them are being investigated by the feds for, tax fraud, but they idolize them and they're like, everything they say is true. And then you look at like, they're being told things by medical professionals and they're like, no, you're part of the deep state.
Exactly. Everyone they don't want to listen to is part of the deep state.
Right. What is the deep state? Like, is it a place? I want to know. Like, I want to visit.
It's a group of people. It's a group of people.
Yeah. No, I know. But it's like, they talk about it like it's this mystical land.
Location. I mean, it's the tunnels under the White House. That's
didn't somebody put on the Google Earth map, they put the deep state like right next to Gitmo? So like if you go and you look at the Google Earth at Gitmo, then it says the deep state.
Nice.
Of course they did.
Probably a liberal who did that.
That's
whoever did that. High five.
Yeah, well done.
We appreciate you. Keep doing what you're doing. I don't. Well, I was talking earlier about I said earlier before we went live that I had someone in my thing saying you need to find who you were before, not really before COVID, but because I didn't get on TikTok till COVID, so more or less before the election. That's what she really meant to say. But my thing is when I did first make videos and I was really targeting the conspiracy and the conspiracy theorist leaders initially, like that was really where my platform was at. But the reality is the amount of hate I got, like, I just find it interesting that a lot of people on the extreme sides, on both sides, I've been attacked by both extreme sides, but specifically on the extreme right, they are so quick to forget the amount of hate that they spew, but then expect us to sit back and take it or stay silent or not change our approach. And, it's like a kid. Like if you ignore a kid's bad behavior, guess what? You're going to keep getting a kid's bad behavior. So it's one of these things like you just grow tired of being complicit. And I don't want to say not kind. I mean, I am definitely, like I said, I'm snarky as shit and I know it. But like, I'm presenting facts. I may have a freaking condescending tone that you don't like, but that doesn't change my message, and I think that's what, and I think you use humor, to get your point across and, and like Jessica, I'm pointing the wrong way because of this stupid camera. But like, you also are like, can be, you're like, you have that like sarcastic tone, but you're not directing at anybody because you're talking about people that are kind of on the internet, but I've just gotten so involved with actual real life people and they don't like it. But the problem is if you don't prove the real life people, especially the ones that are growing larger and larger platforms, wrong and give them a challenge, like pushback or challenge, guess what's going to happen? They're just going to get louder. They're going to gain more following. Jesus Christ, that guy that stole the 2 vials is now at like 80,000 followers on fucking Instagram.
He got arrested, though,
national hero. Like, meanwhile, they're, putting together charges to file against him criminally, but it's not something that just happens overnight. I don't know why, because literally he filmed himself doing it.
Oh, I thought he got arrested. Maybe not.
He got arrested for obstruction of justice, which I don't think had anything to do with the actual stealing of the vials.
Well, and that's what's so hard about right now is people are committing these crimes that like people have never had the opportunity to commit in like over 100 years because we haven't had a pandemic. And so I feel like law enforcement is like, well, how do we charge this person?
Right. Yeah. It's a whole new world. But yeah, I just, I don't know, like I really want to be more kind, I guess, or more, but it's just hard. It's hard because I'm like, fuck, we are like 5 months into this and you guys are still not, you still are pushing the same things. I mean, now we got Trump with his little desktop and like mass desktop tweeting like every day, all day, still talking about election fraud that is non-existent. It's just like, it's just not going away. And so, people are like, you've changed. I'm like, no, the situation has, like the climate has, like, I'm just reacting to everything that's happening around us and we can't help it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know. it's kind of it's gratifying, to see kind of everyone falling apart, but it's a little sad, and it's like, I have all the
Right.
feelings about it, but like, I feel like even though there is a lot of crazy, like there are people who are conservative, who are standing strong in their beliefs that are separate from the Trumpism, the
Their voices are very quiet.
Yeah, they are. I mean, because they're afraid. I mean, I've got a friend on Facebook who feeds me content constantly. I have massive respect for her. And, I speak to her every day, and she is all for, liberal, socially liberal ideas while being fiscally conservative. And and those are the people, they want to say that they're conservative, but they're not. They're moderate. I mean,
right,
it'll be interesting to see what happens in the next couple of years. I have a feeling that it's going to be a pretty big fracture that will ultimately help liberal causes.
Yeah, I just feel like the GOP itself is pushing out the handful of people that have, like Liz Cheney, like they're pushing out the few voices that are trying to be a voice of reason.
Yeah.
And because they have someone of power that is still controlling a huge population of our country, calling them rhinos and telling the people, like, I mean, he's canceling them. They're not acknowledging that, but that's what he's doing. He's canceling members of his very own party because they are standing up against him.
Right.
And it's just so frustrating that they don't see that. Like, you tell us we should have the right to choose and the right to opinion, but you don't have a problem with your president pushing out a member of your party simply because they don't agree with your stance and your execution, so I just struggle with that. How can they have this one narrative but then allow behavior like that to run rampant in their party?
And the fact that they still give Trump so much power.
Yes.
He has no business being as involved as he still is. And I mean, I think even Biden had him took away his ability to have security briefings because he sees him as a danger, which he is. Now
he's rating them?
No, definitely not. But like his people don't need access to that information.
Yeah.
He's not like keeping it hidden.
Yeah.
It's just, I think, Jessica, I think you're absolutely right. I think what's happening is the GOP is actively creating a fringe group, a fringe sect of the Republican Party. And I think they have this idea that that's going to benefit them. But in actuality, it's just kneecapping the party in general.
I don't know if it is. See, I feel different about it. I don't think it is. And this is why I feel like the conservatives that are not extremists, that are moderate centrists, like your friend, at the end of the day, though, is she still going to vote Republican? Probably. And that's where my problem is. No matter how far apart these members of the right are, they will come together when it comes to voting. They will come together when it comes to policy. We can't do that on the left. We're getting fucked by our own side, Manchin. So what I'm saying is I mean, I've talked this previously on here. I've talked to this with Ryan, and I just really fear that we are going to have a fascist dictator in a place of power in the next 8 to 10 years because of the fact that members like Trump are still commanding so much power over that party. And the people, even the quiet ones, are still going to vote on that side simply because they feel a obligation, or they are one party, policy voters, whatever the case may be. I mean, there's people I know that are conservative that don't agree with Trump's behavior. They're still going to fucking vote Republican. So that's the thing.
They have good branding, right?
Yeah.
They have really good branding. And I think one thing that would benefit our party, and I think, there's a lot of validity to that argument. Absolutely. I think one thing that the Democratic Party needs to start doing is taking a play from their book. And
they won't, though.
Being more alarmist. Well, I think that's, luckily the younger generation, our generations, can be those loud voices. And
we need those voices in the Congress, though, more and more. We need more AOCs.
Absolutely.
We need more.
Absolutely.
We
need more AOCs.
Yeah, because they're all old.
We need Ryan
85
in here.
Yeah,
get out of here. Yes, we need Ryan in. Ryan, if you're still in here, get freaking elected. But yeah, it's just I'm just so scared. Like, my husband tells me I worry over nothing, and I'm like, I don't think I do. Like,
yeah,
and maybe it's because I'm so entrenched in the alt-right, and I see how like they refuse to let go. And I have conservative friends on TikTok that will get in my TikTok and still say, I love you and I love your take, but I still wish Trump was president, or I still will vote Republican. So like, I have conservative friends that will blatantly tell me that they don't regret voting for him, even after all that's happened. I mean, my parents included. Like, my stepdad still wants Trump in office, So like, it just breaks my heart that everyone is so, has their blinders on for like so much that's actually like happening. Like, all these laws that are being passed by the GOP in different red states that are literally stripping the rights of people that they just don't agree with, and are not rights that have any business being taken away.
I think a lot of these aren't going to stick, though.
God, I hope not.
A lot of it is noise. I agree with you, and I think that is a genuine fear for a lot of the people on the left. I think one of the people that gives me the most solace these days, I don't know if you read a lot of his stuff, but John Meacham, he's a historian, and he goes through like the cycles of everything that's going on, and he's like, this is we've been here before. It's different, but we've been here before and we survived. So I'm like, I hope we're gonna survive this one, but it does feel like we won't, in a way, because we are so heavily involved in it, and it feels so heavy, and everything is so accessible. I've never been bullied so hard online in my life. And I ate lunch in the bathroom when I was in 6th grade because I was bullied. Like, right?
I mean, same, but 6th grade was awful.
6th grade is the worst. But like, I just feel like a lot of the rhetoric these people are spewing, at least from my perspective, is things that they didn't feel like they could say before because it wasn't socially acceptable, but now they've given permission. So now they're just like spinning out. But I wonder if there's going to come a point where they either get tired or they just realize like, but nothing's happening. I don't know though, because they also think Donald Trump is coming back on the 4th now.
And those goalposts keep moving, don't they?
Yeah, move those chains, man.
I hate it. I hate it here. That's my new phrase. I hate it here.
Yeah. I'm moving to Canada, man. Or actually, cool.
Canada's in lockdown right now.
Yeah, Canada's in lockdown.
Yeah. Also, can we just real quick talk about the fact that like I was really excited about this season of Handmaid's Tale. I know this has nothing to do with anything. I was really excited about it, thinking like, oh, it's been such a hard year. Maybe Handmaid's Tale will give us a win. No, I can't watch it. I'm like, it's too real.
You know what? I have to admit, I watched the first episode and it was like probably a couple months after I had my first baby. And I was like, I can't do this.
Don't do it.
I couldn't. So I like watched the first half of the first episode. So
Save yourself. Save your sanity.
Yeah.
I know we're like running over an hour, but I want to play your Colombia video.
Oh yeah.
I do want to give some noise to that. And so I'm going to play it. So here we go.
Hello and happy Mother's Day, all the moms. Let's talk about something light, like what's happening in Colombia. So like a lot of the world, their economy has taken a big hit because of COVID-19. So what was their genius response to this? Let's raise the taxes on the middle class and throw them all into poverty. Yeah. So obviously because of this, the Colombian people have been protesting for weeks. Over 300 people are missing. People are being assaulted. People are being killed in the streets for no other reason but standing up for their own rights as humans. Why do I care about this as an American? I've been reached out to by several Colombians who are witnessing this firsthand on Instagram and Twitter, and they are just begging for Americans to talk about it. Why? Because not only are their police brutalizing their own people, they're cutting off the power on the internet so they can't talk about it. Literally silencing their own people. The biggest ask that I am getting from the people of Colombia is that we just talk about it. Bring awareness to what's going on, so please press all the buttons, share, duet, whatever you can do. I will keep you posted.
It sucks.
So sad.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's heavy. It's heavy. Actually, while we were talking, I was getting messages from somebody because I keep checking in with them of like, are you okay? Are you safe?
Yeah.
And so the people I've been talking to are, and one, I was very surprised. She's like this really big, quasi-famous comedian down there. I'm like, I don't know how you found me or why, but okay. Like I felt major like imposter syndrome. That's not a flex, but like I was like, I don't understand why, but I'll do what I can.
Right.
And she's sending me all this information in Spanish. I'm like, just because I look it doesn't mean I speak it. Sorry. So I speak a little bit, but she's like walking me through it. But yeah, they're all, I checked in with all of them today and they are all okay. But
Good.
I think the hardest video that I've watched is the police basically attempting to kill a boy with Down syndrome because he was trying to protect his mom from the police.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
It's real. Chills.
It's real what's happening down there. So
yeah,
appreciate you showing that video because I just,
yes,
you know, we have to talk about it. And
yep.
I think the greatest thing that I saw was slowly but surely these politicians were talking about it on Twitter, and all of a sudden we see the AP come out with an article. Once the AP comes out with something, then the other news agencies come out with something. So I'm starting to see our networks talking about it.
Yeah.
Right? Which, you know, I hope that means that we can help.
Yeah.
Well, and that shows you the power of TikTok too. I mean,
yes.
You know, I think there have been a couple of issues that have come up in the last couple of months where, you know, you get traction on TikTok that you can see leads to real awareness, and that's really important. And it, you know, it gives me a motivation and a reason to keep making, you know, activist content, because, you know, I get to these points where, you know, Parler's down and I feel like I don't have anything to I feel like I've lost my connection, because that's where
right.
I kind of
it's your bread and butter.
My niche in TikTok. And it's like, oh, okay, I need to be doing other stuff too, and that is of value. So
yeah. I have inside information that the government is working to get a ship with supplies to India as well.
Oh, good.
So that's something that's in the works. I'm hoping sooner rather than later, obviously, because of the reports we're getting. But yeah, they are invested in that and getting them supplies.
And I read an article that the UN is starting to step in Colombia, which is amazing. I don't know what that means. Again, it was an article in Spanish, so I skimmed and read the words I understood, and I'll translate it later. But I feel like it's like a ripple effect, right? Like, you know, and I've never been one to be like, oh, it's all me. No, it's everybody. Like, we're a collective. And when people ask me, well, like, you're not really doing anything. TikTok isn't real. I'm like, really? Because did you see the Tulsa rally that we completely fucked over for Donald Trump last year? Like, TikTok is powerful. As long as we all band together on one, you know, on something, we can actually do something amazing.
Agreed. The community is like so important, and not eating our own. This is my PSA. Yep. Do not eat your own.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of that is do it.
Yeah, a lot of that is happening on TikTok. I think it's turning a lot of people off. But we need to stick together, and we can stick together. Yeah. So with that, if anybody has anything else, I think we will wrap it up. Thank you so much, Danielle, for coming on. We love you.
Yes,
and
we do.
This was so fun. Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. And we will see everybody next Wednesday. Sorry for the change up today. And thank you, everyone, for being patient. We will see everyone. Okay, here we go. Sorry. I had a brain fart there. Sorry about that. All right. Bye. Bye. Bye.